Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Watch my video and subscribe my channel. As Nick makes his move, Brooke gives Ridge one last chance. Plus, Lee drops a major clue about Luna. Liam's recuperation continues to be the hot subject at the Forrester Creations offices, with Ridge, Brooke, and Eric reveling in the miracle that has taken place. Eric delivers a none-too-subtle statement about life being too short and then presents a Brooke-centric video, created by Will, focused on the company's link to Italy. With the trip to Italy back on, Brooke reveals that she's thinking about inviting Brooke. Ridge, obviously feeling he's in charge of who can and may not visit the country, declares his rivals not invited. Once alone with Eric, Ridge speaks to Nick as someone who is arrogant, self-centered, takes advantage of every possible situation, including Brooke. Amazingly, he does this without a single sign of irony. Ridge correctly indicates that Eric wants his son to dump Taylor and reunite with Ridge. Bold B&B Eric Ridge office. Eric implies that if Ridge isn't careful, Nick will steal Brooke right out from under him. Sure, Eric likes Taylor, but he knows that Ridge's true love is Brooke. Ridge claims Brooke wouldn't fall for Nick, since he's fraudulent and full of false bravado. But it's pretty clear that Ridge fears that's exactly what will happen. When Ridge claims Nick isn't the man for her, Brooke argues that he's right, because he is the right man for her. She remembered that time he returned, and she noticed him at the top of the water staircase, and the time he saw her through the keyhole in Italy. She then says the truest words ever uttered. "This is ridiculous. Why is this happening? We're too old for this." Can Nick reclaim Brooke's heart? Nick arrives at the design office to visit Brooke. They quickly wind up reminiscing, and he argues that she deserves a man who is loyal to only her, which is most certainly not, in his perspective, Ridge. Nick states that when he returned to Los Angeles, it was to see her. There's a sweet mention of his mom, Jackie, but the major topic of conversation is Ridge and the fact he's simply not the right guy for her. Nick Brooke, B&B. More. Ashley Jones mourns Malcolm Jamal Warner. Nick claims he's thinking clearly and knows how he feels. "Come to Naples with me," he adds. "Let me show you the Naples I know." He wants to take her to shipyards. Building a boat is like writing a love letter with your hand. It's gradual, delicate, very complicated, and each brush of varnish is like following the curves of your lover's back. Brooke says she never thought of it like that, and I mean, who has? Nick says he's having a cruiser built and wants to take her out on the ocean to see your beautiful skin being kissed by the warmth of the sunlight. He adds to this temptation by adding, "I might even let you wear my captain's hat." Brooke, Nick, B&B. More. Heart-stopping accident in Naples ahead. Alone in the design office, he contacts Italy to check on his project, then stares at a picture of Brooke and flashes back to their wedding. Will Ridge accept Brooke's offer? Brooke goes back to the main office and talks to Ridge, saying this trip won't be the same as the past. She feels it could be better if Nick was there. When Ridge bristles, she reminds out, "Taylor lurks around wherever you go. Why can't I have somebody?" She adds that he's engaged, and it's not right for him to suggest she can't have someone in her life. Of course, Ridge attempts to pretend he'd be cool with her having someone in his life, but not, Nick. Brooke, Ridge, B&B. More. What's next for Steffi and Hope? Brooke reminds her ex that this is all because Ridge incorrectly felt betrayed when she became CEO. It was all a misunderstanding, she says. Despite him wounding her by rushing off to build a life with Taylor, she is eager to forgive him. "This is the last chance," she cautions. "If we can't do this, I'm just going to bring Nick to Italy with me." She begs him, literally, to come home to her. Is Lee keeping a very big secret? Deacon finds Sheila seated with her 8-toed foot propped up, working on inventory. Before long, Lee swings by and chat turns to Luna. Deacon is rightly gobsmacked as the grandmas try to defend Luna's actions. He reminds out that the girl killed 2 people, then had a miracle second opportunity, only to take hostages and shoot 2 more people. Bold Sheila Deaconly. More. Heinous twist in Liam's story still to come. Lee makes it plain that she blames everything on Penelope and her bad mothering skills. If not for Poppy, Luna would have had a wonderful existence. Sheila is amazed that she and Lee are bonding over Luna. They're all focused on Liam's recovery and they don't even mention Luna, laments Sheila. Lee says that there won't be a service for Luna, as it's already happened. Sheila wishes she'd known so that she could have said farewell to her grandchild. Next on The Bold and the Beautiful. Brooke gives Ridge a final chance to make things right. Daphne arrives from Paris. Surprise Carter and Ridge and Nick push each other's buttons. Ridge bans Nick from trip. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers update for Tuesday, July 22nd. Reveals that Eric Forrester's video will awaken some unhappy Brooke Logan memories before Ridge Forrester bans Nick Marone from their trip. At the office, Eric will emphasize how delighted he is about Liam Spencer's recuperation. That's good news for Liam and everyone who loves him. But it also means Forrester Creations' Italy vacation can proceed as planned. Brooke and Ridge were a little anxious about leaving when everything was so up in the air with Liam, but now they've heard of his cure. Once Eric gets information as well, he'll spend all his focus on the Italian excitement to come. Eric will display a promotional film that the team developed, so he'll watch it with Brooke and Ridge. It'll play up the relationship between Italian inspiration and Forrester's classic design, so there'll be some footage of Brooke's Portofino showstopper of the past. After the video's over, Brooke will admit it brought back some beautiful memories, but she'll add that it brought back some sad ones too. Eric will be contrite as it wasn't his aim to upset Brooke, but she won't hold it against him. That said, Brooke will acknowledge that things are different now that Ridge is back together with Taylor Hayes. It'll be hard for Brooke as she's still wishing for Ridge and their reunion. When Brooke suggests the possibility of Nick joining them in Italy, Eric will be taken aback. Since Eric is holding out hope for Brooke and Ridge to find a happy ending, he may fear that Nick will get in the way. As for Ridge on Tuesday's B&B show, he'll instantly try to shut down Nick's inclusion and argue that this is a work trip. Ridge will insist Nick isn't invited, so he'll try his utmost to dissuade him from coming to Naples at all. However, Ridge's efforts won't pan out since Nick is free to fly to Italy if he wants to, and he indeed wants to. Nick already pushed Brooke to come on an adventure with him and intends to make sure she has some fun instead of just working the whole time. Taylor Hayes plays dirty on The Bold and the Beautiful. Taylor Hayes has a tendency of getting nutty on Bold and the Beautiful when it comes to Ridge Forrester and Brooke Logan. Soap spoilers indicate Taylor is excitedly waiting for Ridge to set a wedding date, and she's starting to suspect he's having second thoughts about their I-do's. How far will Taylor Hayes go to lock down her man? Keep reading to find out. Here's what's happening this week on Bold and the Beautiful. Spoilers down below. Taylor manipulates Nick. When The Bold and the Beautiful revealed Captain Nick Marone was back on the CBS soap, we knew it would only be a matter of time before he started trying to romance his ex Brooke Logan. Taylor Hayes knows that too, and she's ready to use it to her advantage. Taylor Hayes is on her best behavior when she and Ridge Forrester are together. But whenever he starts slipping away and gravitating toward Brooke, Taylor fights dirty. The last time Brooke and Ridge were spending time together, Taylor dispatched Deacon Sharp to proclaim his love to Brooke out of the blue. According to B&B teasers, Taylor will use Nick Marone to attempt and push a gap between Brooke and Ridge this time around. Taylor tries to throw a wrench in Italy trip. Ridge is set to fly to Naples, Italy for work, and we know that Nick Marone pops up there. Is his visit a product of Taylor's handiwork? Taylor is already dreading her fiancé and Brooke canoodling in Italy while she is at home in Los Angeles. What better way to crush any romance than send another man to proclaim his love to Brooke? Do you think that Taylor is right to be worried about Brooke and Ridge? Is she wrong to try to force Nick and Brooke together to salvage her own relationship? As the whirlwind of emotions and betrayals continued to sweep through the lives of the Forresters, Logans, and everyone orbiting their chaotic sphere, Brooke Logan stood in the middle of the design office at Forrester Creations, staring out the window as the sunlight caught the edge of a nearby fabric roll shimmering, like memories she couldn't quite shake. Liam Spencer's miraculous recovery had given everyone a reason to celebrate, or at least pretend like the world hadn't just tilted off its axis only weeks earlier. But for Brooke, that celebration was tinged with longing and regret, haunted by what could have been with Ridge and the daunting reality of what still might be. Eric Forrester, ever the sentimental patriarch with his legacy stitched into the very walls of the office, had played a heart-tugging video created by young Will Spencer, a surprise masterpiece centered on Forrester's long-standing, romantically charged history with Italy, but it was more than a business promo. It was a love letter, not just to fashion, not just to Forrester, but to Brooke herself. In picture, she was luminous, iconic, a queen in silk descending down Portofino steps like Aphrodite rising from the sea, and Ridge saw it too. Saw her, the woman he once chased across oceans for. The woman he left for Taylor Hayes out of guilt, confusion, misplaced righteousness, and perhaps cowardice. The man who could never choose permanently now stood shaken as Brooke sweetly but firmly declared she was considering inviting Nick to Italy, and Ridge's jaw had clenched like a drawbridge, slamming shut. "He's not invited," Ridge muttered, the veins on his neck indicating exactly how threatened he genuinely felt. Alone later with Eric, Ridge ranted about Nick being arrogant, self-centered, and opportunistic, fully missing the irony as the precise phrases could define Ridge's own romantic history. Eric, half amused and half exasperated, declared bluntly what everyone, even Taylor, already knew. If Ridge didn't stop waffling and recommit to Brooke, Nick Marone would swoop in and steal her heart again. Because for all his arrogance and yachts, Nick possessed one thing Ridge had long surrendered: absolute devotion. Meanwhile, Brooke addressed Ridge in a rare moment of vulnerability and power all at once. "You're right," she responded when Ridge scoffed that Nick wasn't the man for her. "He's not, because you are, or at least you used to be." She reminded him of their past, not with nostalgia, but with aching clarity, the way she saw him through the keyhole in Italy, the way he stood atop the water staircase like some half-forgotten promise. But her voice shook when she revealed the truth that came with age and heartbreak. "We're too old for this. This is ridiculous. Why is this happening?" Ridge, cornered by his own indecision, tried to deflect, but Brooke had had enough. "If you don't want me, if you won't choose me without games or delays or conditions, then I will bring Nick to Italy, and I won't look back." Her words echoed through the office like a final bell toll, a warning, a goodbye. In another area of L.A., Nick Marone was already preparing his move. Visiting Brooke in the design office under the pretext of business, he shifted the conversation fast toward what genuinely important to him: her. They laughed, they recalled, and Nick sketched dreams of a shared life with vivid poetry and old-world elegance, offering her something Ridge never quite could: the undivided heart of a man who had learned from his mistakes. "Come to Naples with me," Nick whispered, and when she hesitated, he added, "Let me show you the Naples I know. Not Fashion Week, not press events. Just us." And somehow, when he spoke of shipyards and brushstrokes of varnish, Brooke felt something shift. Could she truly risk her heart again? Could she let go of Ridge? Across town, in a moment meant to be normal, Deacon Sharp entered Aiel Giardino only to find Sheila propped up with her iconic 8-toed foot wrapped in bandages, taking inventory notes with the grim persistence of a woman rebuilding from ashes. But soon their talk veered, as it always did lately, toward Luna and Nozoa. Lee Finnegan rushed in like a storm front, nasty and aggressive, blaming Poppy for all Luna had become. "She was never supposed to be raised like that," Lee growled. "Penelope corrupted her. That girl should have been mine to raise." Deacon was stunned. He had heard his share of rationalizations, but to hear both Lee and Sheila trying to rationalize Luna's shooting spree, a spree that had left dead and havoc in its wake, was bizarre. Sheila's pain over losing her grandchild was raw, but even she could see Lee was hiding something. There wasn't even a service, Sheila mumbled, eyes tightening. You didn't tell me. No one told me. Why? And Lee, ever calculating, merely said it had already happened. A lie wrapped in ceremony. But then she added something that made Deacon's ears perk. Some things are better kept quiet, especially when the body's been cremated. But had it? Was Luna really dead? Or had Lee, like she once did with Finn, staged her niece's death for her own sick reasons? Back at Forrester, Taylor Hayes was scheming again. Though she wore a mask of reason, her mind was already spiraling. She had seen the way Ridge stared at Brooke during the video. She had felt the distance building. Between them, the uncertainty in establishing a wedding date. Desperate to protect her illusion of a life with Ridge, Taylor plotted the only move she felt would work, weaponizing Nick. She didn't need to encourage him directly. Nick was already a wildfire. But a few whispered recommendations to Eric, a phone call here, a subtle leak about Brooke's travel arrangements there, and soon Nick was set to accidentally land himself in Naples at the same time as the Forrester group. Taylor persuaded herself she was helping Ridge see Brooke's true colors, but part of her understood the truth. If Ridge saw Brooke happy with another guy, truly loved by someone else, he'd never come back. Meanwhile, Carter was shocked when Daphne returned early from Paris, bringing yet another twist to the saga. As he attempted to understand her surprise appearance and navigate his delicate bond with Hope, the tension between the Forrester men, Ridge, Eric, and now Nick, reached a boiling point. At Forrester, Ridge lashed out when he realized Brooke had formally invited Nick to join the Naples trip. "This is a business trip," he snapped. "Not a romantic getaway." But Brooke wasn't playing along. "You're engaged," she reminded him. "You can't have it both ways. If you get Taylor, then I get someone too." Ridge, cornered by her clarity, fumbled with his words, unable to claim her but unwilling to let her go. And thus the stage was set. Italy loomed, not just as a picturesque destination, but as a battleground of old love, new temptations, long-buried secrets, and emotional warfare. Brooke packed her bags with more than dresses and perfume. She packed the weight of decades. Nick rehearsed the words he would say under moonlight beside the sea. Ridge glanced at his ring and wondered what it meant anymore. And Lee, somewhere in the shadows, held a secret in a silver urn that may or may not have been empty. Luna's destiny remained a mystery, and Deacon wasn't done asking questions. As the plane set off toward Naples, hearts were already in freefall. And no one, not Ridge, not Brooke, not even scheming Taylor, would return untouched.